You are now entering Armbar Audio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Armbar Audio. I'm your host, Tim Farley, and next to me is my trusted companion,
John Kearns. What's up, everybody?
Today is a special episode as we are interviewing the founder of GSW Wrestling, Global Syndicate Wrestling, Brandon Ascari. As you have seen on our latest shows, we have had their logo on our shows, and their big first event, Inception, is tomorrow night. So, welcome, Brandon, the founder of Global Syndicate Wrestling. Brandon, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it is our pleasure. So, Inception looks to be a very good event. We have a lot of names we know and some names we don't know, which is interesting. Do you want to go down up the card?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. So our opening match is Michael Elgin and Wrecking Ball Legursky. That's just, one of those awesome matches where it's just going to be two powerhouse dudes just beating the shit out of each other the whole time. Then we go on to,
Richard Holiday
and Jake Christ, which, Holiday's pretty big in MLW. Jake Christ, well-known in Impact and the X Division. So a lot of people have said they think that's going to be one of the sleeper match of the nights. I think it's going to be crazy fun, a nice pace, and just an all-around good match. We have Gabby Ortiz and Vicious Vicky, which they are in the tri-state area. They're pretty well-known. They've had a bunch of matches against each other, and they always deliver. So we're excited to see what they do under the GSW banner. We have the triple threat between Ricky Reyes, Smiley, and Gio Galvano. And Ricky's traveled the world over. Phenomenal talent, been in the underground. Smiley, fantastic luchador. And Gio Galvano is another local talent around here that we've seen at a few other shows. He was on a couple of Impact Explosions, I think. So he's just starting to make a name for himself. And I think he's got a bright future in the company as well. Then we move on to the two co-main events. First is Deonna Purrazzo and now Trish Adora, who is replacing Shaul Guerrero, who was not able to make the show, which, that's just a classic match. And Trish has that 60-minute Iron Man match coming up soon. So, she's blown up on the indie scene right now. Deonna needs no introduction. She's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now.
Yeah.
And the main event, Alexander Hammerstone versus Austin Aries, who replaced Joe Doering for the GSW World Championship, which that is just going to be phenomenal. You have one of the all-time greats in Austin Aries going up against one of the up-and-coming Golden Gaijin future greats, Hammerstone, and I can't wait for that match.
I agree. Austin Aries can rub some people the wrong way, but when it comes to being inside the ropes, there's not many who can touch him. Same with Michael Elgin. I'm really looking forward to that main event because Hammerstone is his future is super bright. Super bright.
I agree.
So, Brandon, what brought about Global Syndicate Wrestling?
Well, Global Syndicate Wrestling was originally I wanted to create a wrestling company right after I graduated high school. Originally, at the time, it was 2012, I was watching a lot of Dragon Gate USA. I was watching a lot of Evolve and Chikara at that time. Yeah. And there was one guy who was getting his foot in the door. His name was Johnny Gargano. I was like, this kid's going to be the future. My first main event, I would do Johnny Gargano versus Mike Quackenbush. It would be a freaking banger. And that would be my future star. It would be Gargano. And then it was really nice to see that years later, he went on to be something great in NXT, and he's doing really well. But at the time when I started actually crunching numbers and what little pennies I had saved up in the piggy bank, there just wasn't enough to rub together to make a show happen. So I ended up going down a path into film production. And then years later, I'm like, well, film production would help me run a wrestling company. My old buddy who's somebody that I trained with when I was wrestling. He and I both looked at each other one day and we're just like, yeah, why don't we start a company? Okay, let's do it. And here we are.
That's awesome, man. That's so awesome.
So when you're starting a new independent wrestling company, what really goes into that? What's like the list of stuff that needs to happen for a show to happen?
I don't even know if we have enough time to go down that list.
Well, yeah.
When I first thought of it, I'm like, oh, you get the wrestlers, hey, you get the production team, hey, you rent the venue, hey, you're good to go. And then I'm like, oh man. As I'm going through, it's like, all right, then we need to coordinate. All right, we want the ropes to be this color. All right, we want the entrance ramp to look like this. Okay, we need these lights. Okay, who's going to do those lights? All right, now we need to get the production crew. All right, well, we're going to live stream. So now I need to get a live stream team together to work with the production crew. Thankfully, all the production stuff I do regularly. So I have my team. That was easy to get. Handling the talent and going through and then coordinating the show. The venue, we had a venue change. We had 2 wrestlers that were not able to make the show. So then finding new people somewhat last minute. The venue change was a little tough, but it ended up working out better for us now that we're at Monster Factory. Going through figuring out if you're going to find a venue that has insurance, if you need insurance, the ring rentals. Then the promotion side of things, trying to get the word out there so everybody knows that the show's happening. It ended up being a lot more than we originally were thinking it was going to be, but it ended up being an awesome experience regardless.
Right. How did you manage to get your first show on FITE? To me, that's kind of a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it was literally, I just sent an email to the contact over at FITE, Keith, and he responded and said, this is what we need to get it on there, and you're good to go.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So you talked about film production. What got you into that route, and where did you go?
Believe it or not, wrestling got me into film production. When I was in high school, I was training in wrestling since I was 14. At this point, I'm around 16 years old, and a buddy of mine in high school was like, hey, I make like stupid short films for YouTube or whatever. Do you want to come on and just beat us up? Because you're a weightlifter, you're a wrestler, like just come on and we'll sell your punch like The Rock taking a stunner or something. And so that's what we did. We did like a faking somebody getting hit by a car. We did like a little fight scene. Like it was the cheesiest, dumbest looking thing you could ever imagine. It was a blast. So then a week later, I bought a camera and I'm like, all right, let me start doing like little fight scenes for YouTube, hand choreography. And then as that went on, I did maybe 10 or 20 of those. And then finally I'm like, well, maybe I want to start telling a story. And then a master's degree later and a bunch of teaching and films under my belt, here I am.
That's awesome. A master's degree is a lot of time and a lot of money. So good on you. So I read that you were offering free acting classes to your roster.
Mm-hmm.
I find that awesome because a lot of young talent that could be a crucial thing for them.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought was missing from wrestling training, in my opinion, when I went through it and what I've heard from other people and what I've seen from people who graduated is when they teach you to cut a promo, it's like, all right, go out there and say who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay. And then they go out there, well, I'm going to be here at this day doing this at this time, and I'm going to win. And I'm like, all right. But nobody teaches them how to do it believably and in character.
Right.
And that can only be achieved, I think, through acting classes. And, from working in the film industry, I know a lot of acting instructors. I've taken a lot of acting classes. And I got my old acting teacher, Debbie Schwartz, who's a phenomenal theater director, actress, and teacher of acting. So we got her. We started off in January. We did 2 classes. And then as of February, we just did our 3rd class, February 10th. And then now it's going to be once a month until we start making a little more money.
Nice. Now, with this first card, Obviously, there's a lot of outside names that are have been associated with or are associated with other promotions. There are some names there that are just indie talent. Are you looking to make GSW shows big names of all indie talent, kind of like we see from Chicago promotion AAW, or are you looking to make a core roster with outsiders coming in?
Well, one thing I could say is that just about everybody on our roster we have signed for the year. So we're looking at basically 90% of the names that you see on that card, you will see on almost all of our shows. So we are looking to create a core roster, but we're looking to create a core roster with people that we can keep long term. I don't like booking, one-off dream matches all the time. It's cool once in a while, but I don't want to have most of the people that are on the card just show up and then we never hear from them again. I want them to be involved, whether we're creating stables or factions or we're creating just, storylines one-on-one. I don't think you can have a really great product unless you have talent that's there for the long haul.
Agreed. So what first got you into wrestling? You mentioned Evolve and Dragon Gate USA, but I believe I read somewhere that you were a very big fan of the King's Road style.
Mm-hmm. So originally I got into wrestling just flipping through channels one day, 11-year-old kid, and I stumbled across the Batista and Triple H segment when they were doing the brand split. I think that was the thumbs down promo.
Yeah.
And that was literally the first thing I ever saw from wrestling. And I was like, all right, I'd like to see these guys fight. So I'm watching. I see the match, and I'm just hooked from that point. After that, I found Shawn Michaels. Then he became my favorite wrestler of all time. And then I don't remember how I discovered Japanese wrestling, but I know the first match I ever saw was Kobashi and Akiyama from Noah in 2004, and that was it. Then I started a rabbit hole. I barely watched any American wrestling after that. It was just Noah, New Japan, All Japan, and just that King's Road, 4 pillars of heaven, the Misawa, the Kobashi, the Akiyama, the Kawada and the Toy, and the half Akiyama. That was my favorite style of wrestling. And then also modern day Noah, like the Shiozaki and Super match that happened. That was fantastic.
I'll tell you, we do a top 10 matches of every month at the beginning of each month for the last month. And we started this last year. And as we continued, it was just more puro. It was more Joshi. And I love that stuff. And I'm similar to you. I watched wrestling as a child. And then when I got to high school, I stopped watching. Then I got back into it because I heard about Benoit dying. And me and my friends started reminiscing about him and other old wrestlers. And soon we were watching old wrestling. Then we were watching new wrestling. And then I came upon like Ring of Honor, and I find Bryan Danielson, and I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm seeing all these Japanese wrestlers. Now, when I was young, I loved, one of my favorites was Ultimo Dragon, but it didn't really correlate to like go find Japanese wrestling because I was a kid.
Right.
But the first match that got me into Puro was from Dragon Gate USA. Bryan Danielson against Shingo.
Oh, that was such a good match.
And and then I saw Naruki Doi against Davey Richards, I believe.
Oh, good.
And then I was just like on that website doing like the three DVDs for $50 and all that. And I was just like, just give me more. Just give me more of all of this. And but yeah, when you start watching Puro, it's almost frightening that you may not watch Western wrestling again.
Yeah, it really is. Did you guys watch the Noah show overnight?
I haven't watched yet, but Well, last week. Um, I'm sure I will, but I'm very happy for Muta. Uh, I'm glad he's in that echelon of three people now, but there is a lot of backlash because of Shiozaki's run, but I feel like Shiozaki's run spoke for itself. Um, I think people would have been upset no matter who took the title off of him. Um, they wanted, I think a lot of people wanted Kiyomiya to be the one to take it off of him
Mhm.
to make him a future star. But why? It makes a lot of sense to have Muto be the one to give it to him because it's a bigger in my eyes it's a bigger deal. Shiizaki's run though, him and Nakajima, him and Segura, just unfucking real, man. Like unreal. But yeah. So yeah, that's don't know where I was going, but
Did you go? Did you see any of the Dragon Gate USA shows live?
I did not. I believe they were supposed to come around here when I was training in wrestling, but I think they got canceled, and soon thereafter, it ended.
Yeah, I saw the original. The what was it? Open the Historic Gate, I think was the original show. I saw that one with Doi and Shingo, not in person but live. And then I was there for, I think it was Mercury Rising with the big 6-man tag. I was there live for that. I saw the Evolve, Ibushi, and Richards live. I was front row for that, which was crazy.
Nice.
That's
I was a
wild.
big fan. Yeah, I caught up with Shingo during the show one day. Back in the day before we went to New Japan and just wrecked house. No, that it was great. And then the New Japan came over for an East Coast tour in 2011, and I got to see 2 out of the 3 shows they did. So I met Tanahashi, I met Nakamura, and they wrestled in the main event of the 3rd show in the old ECW arena. And
Was that like for the Intercontinental title tournament where MVP was in?
I don't think he was there for that. No,
Okay.
I think that's when they went to Florida, maybe.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, this was New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania they did back in 2011, and it was a fantastic tour. Actually, do I have the... Maybe not. I was going to see if I had the book with all the autographs in it.
So, going off of what we're talking about, who are like your top 5 Puro wrestlers? And you could even include Gaijin.
I mean, the obvious number 1 for me would be Misawa. There's no way I could say anything other than Misawa for number 1. Akiyama's up there. Even to this day, the dude's still cleaning house. I love how he's adapted his style as he's gotten older. Shiozaki, Tanahashi, and probably Nakamura would be my top.
Shingo got me into Puro, but Nakamura, like Wrestle Kingdom 9 just really changed me because it was the first one that you could get live pay-per-view.
Right.
And, his entrance and that match with Ibushi, man, I had he's blown up since then. On Instagram, his name's Hal Haney Art, I believe. He just got a job doing something with toys, I think, for WWE.
Yeah.
But I had him make a portrait of Ibushi like getting to a standing position and Nakamura coming off the top, kneeing him in the back of the head.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that Beaumier to the back of the head was a killer.
Yeah, the whole match.
You're gonna have to send him a photo when you get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me a picture. I love to see that. I was actually at Wrestle Kingdom last year. The Wrestle Kingdom, what was that, 13?
That's awesome.
I think it was 14.
Yeah, 14 was last year.
Both days. And that was, what was that? It was Okada and Ibushi, and then Okada.
Yeah, it was the 4 matches, the Gold Dash or whatever.
So those absolutely just destroyed this year's Wrestle Kingdom. I was so disappointed with the main events this year.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan that there was no. To me, it needed to make it more monumental. Like the quality of the matches were great, and the actual matches themselves, but I didn't feel like they had a main event, in my opinion. I didn't think Naito, White, Ibushi. I didn't think that they were the guy to beat and get the threshold. Because to me, it's still Okada the guy, and if you want to pass the torch to somebody, it has to be passed from the guy to the next guy. And
Right.
Naito, to me, even though I love Naito and I think he's a great worker, to me, I never see him as anything more than upper mid card. He's the guy you could throw the belt on if you need to because somebody's injured or they're not there, but he can't be like the ace, so to speak. So if it wasn't like Tanahashi or Okada, I just didn't see it as like really having that monumental impact. Although I was really happy with Ibushi winning.
Yeah.
I could understand that way of thought, but I could debate you a bit because seeing the crowds in Japan all the time with the LIJ gear and I see where you're coming from with Naito, but Naito defeated Okada to get both titles, so that was kind of the torch passing. So, whatever. It was awesome.
No, I totally get where you're coming from.
What was your favorite match from both nights?
The best match on night one was Okada and Ospreay. That the storytelling in that match was one of the best I've ever seen about how he had to reawaken the Rainmaker out of him. That was fantastic. Right. And then Shingo and Cobb. Yes. My God,
Shingo and Cobb.
Yeah, Shingo and Cobb was our number one for January.
Yeah.
We actually we've been in talk with Cobb about doing some dates with us.
Hell yeah!
So we may be seeing him in the near future. No guarantees yet. We haven't signed anything, but it's been a conversation with him, and we've also been talking with All Japan about doing a talent exchange when the COVID restrictions loosen up.
That would be fantastic.
Well.
Because All Japan has been on my radar as well lately.
Yeah.
Sawama and his boys and Miyahara and, there's a guy that I don't think is in any promotion, but he shows up everywhere. Mm-hmm. And Masato Tanaka, that guy is unreal. And like when you look at older Japanese wrestlers, I don't know what it is, but they can fucking go until they're dead. Yeah. But over here, it's like, Chris Jericho may have a little bit of a gut on him, and everybody goes nuts. And it's just like, dude, do you? But
you look at like Jericho, he's slowing down a lot. You look at Kurt Angle, he was, atrophied like this. He couldn't get his arms up. He could wrestle like 6 minutes before, towards the end of his career, which, of course, it's because of all the broken necks. I understand that.
Do you think it has to do with the schedule?
Well, to give you a, for instance, behind the scenes, we signed with a company called FITE Club, and they are like the world's #1 international distributor of fight content. So they're working on getting us television deals in other countries. And I was speaking to her, and she actually said to me, if you want to have the most marketability, you shouldn't have more than 6 to 12 shows a year. Right. Otherwise, networks, like, unless you're the WWE or something, networks don't want you. So if you have weekly shows and you're a smaller company, it's damn near impossible to get you on television slots. So I also think, in that same vein, a reduced schedule is going to make you last longer. But I don't know.
Because you can compare Angle and Jericho with someone like Christopher Daniels, who never had the WWE schedule and still can hit his stuff very well.
I think currently is better now than he was in his most recent TNA or Impact run.
Well, that's because of booking.
Well, yeah, that's because of booking, but
I always I'll put Sugiura up there. Like the dude's 50 or 51 or something, and he's wrestling like a 35-year-old going 50-something minutes against
Suzuki too.
It's crazy. Yeah, Suzuki's another one. Him and Shingo, oh my God, did they have a killer.
Oh,
Yeah, I could go all day on Japanese wrestling, but I mean, even Ogawa is not bad. You have who else is still going? Akiyama's 51. He's still going. It's like all these guys who are in their upper 40s to early to mid 50s. Even Muto, he went what, almost a half hour against.
Yeah, I think it was
G5.
23 minutes or something.
And all right, he's a little older. He's closer to 60. He was still going out there taking bumps. It's like, all right, these guys can go. When you look at, Angle and Jericho, all right, when Jericho was in New Japan, he could go a little bit more. Maybe it has a little bit to do with booking, but they also forced him to be in a little bit better shape. When he went to AEW, he's like, all right, well, now I'm just going to drink the bubbly all the time and, just go out there and have 10-minute matches or whatever.
Yeah, riding your bike and doing DDP yoga isn't going to get rid of that that extra weight.
but in that regard, I'm not going to say it's not entertaining.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love Jericho. He's
Mhm.
he's my best of all time, greatest of all time, in my eyes. But that's because of his ability to reinvent himself so many times, stay entertaining.
Yeah.
What
And
were your favorite reinventions of Jericho?
my favorite, my favorite version of Jericho, and I think his peak is when he was in the suit.
The
He
suit,
had
the short hair.
He used big words, and his rivalry with Shawn Michaels.
And with
That
CM Punk.
ladder match, I believe at No Mercy or No Way Out, it has something with no in the beginning. That is so fucking good.
That was the best of his career. When I saw that was what hooked me on Jericho. Was not like the older stuff like the 05 match against Shawn. That was good.
Yeah.
But he reinvented himself and he came out and he's like, you brainless troglodyte, like whatever. And he just do that No Country for Old Men. Like that's the inspiration. He's like, I would just slowly pan the audience when I come out there. I'm like, this fucking prick.
Right.
It was perfect. And then the only other one that was nowhere near as good was when he did the Painmaker thing in New Japan. Other than that, the other reinventions were, I mean, they're good in some regards, but they didn't hold a candle to those two iterations, in my opinion.
I also liked the iteration with Kevin Owens. And I loved his WCW stuff. Like whenever I was little, I thought him coming out with Ralphus was hysterical, and the stuff that he did with Goldberg was great.
Yeah, I think one of Jericho's biggest strong points to me has always been comedy, in my opinion. I think when he turns on the funny and combines it with how good of a wrestler he is, it creates magic.
Yeah.
Like, I loved everything with Orange Cassidy. I loved the debate. I loved the mimosa match. And people can say, "Oh, they did it in WWE." You'd say it was stupid. And I actually responded to somebody that said that because if WWE did it, it would be stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they don't understand.
They don't understand the difference. Like it's not going to be overbooked to hell like it would be there.
Right. So, going off of those things, so your logo has been showing up on our shows a lot, and people probably want to know why.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we're going to see the Armbar logo showing up on the GSW show as well. So, we one hand washes the other is the best way to say it. And we try to take care of each other. And that's pretty much the only way that I could see it. We believe in anybody who helps us. We want to help them. So
Same here.
Same here. How to do that.
Same here. So when is do you have any other shows planned for this year?
Yeah, so we wanted to take like a fine wine approach, so to speak, when it comes to wrestling. We had X amount of dollars that we budgeted for what we thought we were going to spend in a year. And we said, okay, we could either do like most indie companies and do one show every month, then we'd have a pretty small budget for each show. Maybe we could get like a Hammerstone and a Christ and one or two other, names. Or we could just do a quarterly show, 4 big shows, and have like massive banger cards like we have now.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided to go in that route. So we're doing 4 shows for the first year. February 20th, May 22nd, August 21st, and November 20th. So once every quarter. And we are planning, we also have like a little developmental brand called High Voltage, and that's just with local talent. And the first match highlights aired last week on YouTube. And then we have an 11-man elimination rumble to crown the next gen champion on that brand. That's coming out this upcoming Thursday. Hold on, let me retake that. That's coming up. When is this airing? Friday on the 19th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had, and I'll redo the whole thing. So we have one match, the women's championship crowning 4-way elimination that came out about a week and a half ago, and then the 11-man battle royal to crown the first ever next gen champion on the High Voltage brand came out just yesterday.
Fantastic. John, you have any questions for him?
Well, I did want to touch on something, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way. What is your response to people that have a problem already because you've booked Michael Elgin and Austin Aries?
I mean, the easiest response to that question is I go off of proof. When I've gone and done a lot of research on anybody that we hire to make sure that there is no outstanding serious things that are in existence, to my knowledge. Of course, I wasn't there, so I don't really know what happened, but there's no charges against either of these people. They are phenomenal talents in the ring, and I truly believe in any semblance of a justice system that you are innocent until proven guilty. And otherwise, you don't have to watch the show if you truly believe that things that probably didn't happen happened. And otherwise, most people, the response has been incredibly positive. So if I piss off 2 or 3 people, but I make 100 people happy, I'm happy.
Exactly.
Good shit, man.
That's exactly what I say about a lot of companies.
Yeah, today's climate, especially with social media, it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah,
and even then, you may still be guilty.
Yeah, and like the whole
the problem is it's in the social media's eyes whether you're guilty.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at. It has to be difficult starting something like this in the social media age.
Yeah.
It's got to be really hard for things to not get out there, for information to leak. It's got to be near impossible.
I would agree 100%. I'm sure somebody's probably already hacked into my email 1,000 times over and seen a whole bunch of stuff that I don't want them to see. But
right.
The best thing we could do is just, do our best to, we switched over to like a more encrypted messaging app. So we don't have the one that Elon was talking about, Signal, I think is the name of it. So we use that now and like Facebook Messenger and all that stuff. So we're trying, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's easy to hack in. I have a friend who's a computer science major, and he used to just like, oh, you want to know how easy it is to hack into a Mac? I'm like, I thought you can't hack into a Mac. And then he's putting porn on my computer in the middle of class. I'm like, you guys are kidding me.
I always felt weird going into like a cafe and just seeing some dude watching that. And it's just like, you're in public, man.
I mean, this is an at-home activity, sir.
Just go buy a magazine. Fuck. So my last question would be so we heard May, August, November are the other shows. Who are some names, male and female, that you would like to book on one of those shows?
Well, depending on how the COVID restrictions go, like I said, we have the opportunity to do a talent exchange with All Japan. So the top 2 over there would be Suwama and Miyahara. We'd love to have them in there in some capacity. I'd love to be able to get Doering back, depending on the COVID restrictions, because I was so damn excited about that match with him and Hammerstone. But, like he said in the video he gave to us, he still wants to fight whether Hammer wins the title or not. So we'll make it happen whenever we can. Anybody else that I could think of? We really like Kimberly. She's awesome. Allison Kay.
Yeah.
Jeff Cobb, we were talking to him, so maybe an MLW, Jacob Fatu is amazing. We'd love to get him.
That's what I was looking for, man.
We just had Fatu on
that
the
guy,
show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we interviewed him, and
we put that out early January.
Oh, nice.
I talked to him on the phone beforehand, and he's a really hard guy to get a hold of.
He really is.
I don't know how much he has a grasp on technology, but I was on the phone with him, and if I wasn't at work at the time, I could have talked to him for 2 hours. Then we did the podcast, and as soon as we got off, he wanted to talk more, and then he kept saying, "Man, this is podcast shit. This is podcast. We should do another one. We should do it." I'm like, "Yeah, we should, but it may take half of a year to get you back." So I don't know, but Jacob Fatu is a fantastic human being. He's a really good dude. Really good.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, that's a few. Otherwise, we would love to get some of the Sendai talent. We'd love to work with any of the Joshi companies out in Japan, because that would be a huge influx. I think, isn't AEW doing something with a lot of Japanese talent now?
Yeah, they're having the Eliminator tournament, and half of it is happening in Japan. Hikaru Shida is helping produce that. We're seeing two big names from Tokyo Joshi Pro, Yuka Sakazaki and Maki Ito, and then some other names that I've never heard of, probably from Seedling or Ice Ribbon or something. But yeah.
But Ito is going to be phenomenal in that.
Yeah.
Man, I hope she goes all the way, because she deserves to be an international star.
So what are they doing then? Is it you get to the number one in Japan and the number one in the US, and then they fight somewhere?
Yeah, I think that's where it's going.
Yeah. And the American side has Riho, because I guess she's in America.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're probably going to fight maybe March 7th.
Yeah.
If they can get this done in time. Or maybe they'll have a special edition of Dynamite.
Well, I know that I think all of the Japanese half is happening on YouTube.
Right.
So
will it all be released at one time?
I don't know. We don't know that.
Right.
But, but still, it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, that's something I would definitely check out. That's awesome.
Last question. What have been some great things that have happened since you took on this endeavor, and some maybe not so great things?
Just the experience in general, I would say, has been one of the best experiences. Getting to communicate with all of these people who have a large influence on any, population in any regard has been phenomenal. Being able to produce these acting classes for the talent, to start the Wrestler Relief Fund where we're trying to help wrestlers in need. All of those things have been a phenomenal experience. Some of the more, I guess, annoying side of things is seeing some of the backlash from some of the bookings that we get. I really don't care at the end of the day, but still, you get a pop-up notification on your phone that's like, "Oh, these guys should be canceled." It's
Yeah, fuck you. Hey,
Exactly.
come on, man. I'm trying.
That just every once in a while, I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, "I go fuck yourself," or whatever.
So I wake up every morning. That's the mirror that I'm looking at.
So yeah, no, it has.
That happens to us too. We get so many positive comments on stuff that we do, but then there's always one guy that's you. But that one guy makes you just hate the world. and you ignore all the rest of the positive that you
Oh
get.
yeah, that I think is a challenge that everybody has to try to overcome. Myself included. Like, all right, you know what? I see about 6,000 messages that are like, great job. We can't believe you're doing it. We're so excited to see him. And then it's just that one.
And then there's that one, but like that guy is the one that you want to turn. Like you want him to.
Yep. And maybe we will. Who knows if they tune in to see the show.
Let's see.
So, Brandon, tomorrow night on FITE will be Inception. Congratulations for getting this off the ground. I can't wait to watch it. Let the listeners and viewers know where to find Global Syndicate Wrestling.
Sure. So FITE TV tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, is GSW Inception. For some reason, if you type in Global Syndicate Wrestling, it does not pop up. So it's GSW Inception on FITE TV. GSWPro.com is the website. Twitter is GSW_Pro, and Instagram is GSW Pro.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure, Brandon. Thank you for coming on. John, you have anything?
That's it from me.
Awesome. Tim, John, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, with that, wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, you have a great one. Peace and love to all of you. Bang!